Hello again, everyone, and welcome to 90s to Now. I am Jerry Strauss, and folks, we've been diving a lot into the world of music and a lot of different worlds here on 90s to Now. And we have an amazing guest for you. You see her on the screen right now, the amazing voice, the electric personality, probably the most famous mall tour of all time. She topped the charts. We'll try and do that again. Back in the 80s, with her debut album and singles, of course, like I Think We're Alone Now, could have been. I saw him standing there. You see my age as I'm messing with my glasses. But yeah, she hit the 90s just as hard. You may remember her from the Jetsons movie. You may remember her from 3 albums dropped between 1990 and the year 2000, and becoming a mom during that time as well. So a significant time for her as we continue to follow her amazing career. She's here with us today. Tiffany, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. I'm in Nashville and having my coffee and wearing my glasses too nowadays.
Do you
So I
have to do
chuckled a,
the
I
do you have to
chuckled a
do the
little bit.
thing where you're if you're close, you have to take them up, or have you reached that point yet?
I just have to do them for reading and screening now. So not what I had planned, but it is what it is. So I'm making them work. And now that I'm getting into glasses, I'm ordering all kinds of like really cool, funky ones and just obtaining it as a look now.
No,
So here I am, guys. Here I am.
that's the way to do it. Um, it's so exciting to talk to you right now. I mean, it's always so exciting to talk to you because I mean, ever since we got to know you back in the 80s, it feels like you've had not something going on, but two, three, four, five different things going on, launching, exciting things happening in the world of Tiffany. You're talking about uh, your coffee, but I mean, we're here to also talk about your Rocktails, your celebrity Rocktails. You are now becoming this name in this whole new sort of aspect of life, so to speak. Tell us how you got into the Rocktail business.
Well, to bring everybody up to speed, I'm currently working with Rob Floyd, Bar Rescue, and on and on, number one mixologist in the country. So, that's been full circle. Been in the making for a while now with Rocktails from my company, Rocktails with Tiffany. And, that started in COVID, really, when I was doing some small events when we could and doing some social distance events out on the beach in Daytona and Flagler Beach and working with restaurants to kind of get everybody up and running again, just learning the new. And some of the restaurants were overwhelmed with lack of staff, of course, and didn't want to bring on extra costs. So featuring some of my food from Let's Food with Tiffany, my cookbook and my cooking club. I've been doing that again, backstory, since before COVID, but really hit it hard in COVID because it was my way of connecting with the fans and keeping myself busy, and I missed family a lot. So making those recipes felt good. So it was a genuine kind of share, and that took on cookbooks and adventures and all kinds of stuff. But I found that a lot of the restaurants, when I was hosting some of the Let's Food with Tiffany takeovers in person, again in Daytona and Flagler Beach is really where I got my start. They were overwhelmed. So someone said, "Do you do a cocktail?" And I was like, "I do today." So I just, I ran behind the bar and I think a cocktail together and maybe like a second one. And just from things that I had served at parties, I'm not really a bartender, but they were good and they surpassed. Then I refined and they became official Rocktails. So I have 3 Rocktails that I serve at my events. But again, Team Tiff, I love my team. They're always thinking outside the box. Again, we were talking earlier about planting seeds, and I just do that. I start to think of things I want to do and start moving in that direction. And it looks a little crazy at first because you don't have all the dots connected.
Mhm.
You don't know all the answers, but you just know that you're going that way. And I believe in the universe or God or just a persistence. It starts to break through a little bit and doors open. And they don't always work. Sometimes you got to test a few. I know I definitely still am and are and have. But again, full circle, my team. Garrett Lauer, who I do Children's Miracle Network with. We've done a lot of events. I've been supporting Children's Miracle Network. It is my charity that I support, gosh, for over 9 years now. This coffee is Given's Coffee that tells about all the Children's Miracle Network children that we feature on the coffee. So go to Tiffany Tunes, guys. You can figure all of that out. But the coffee really is good. Yay, I love it. I'm a coffee drinker. I live by it. So that was, when we got into these things eventually later on, again through COVID, thinking outside the box, coffee came up, and again, other ways that we can participate with the fans, and then Rocktails. And of course, Garrett Lauer does all of these different events in the Super Bowl, all these different things. My crew goes out and we all have these different lives, and then we come together and we make Tiff magic happen. So I'm surrounded with a great team of people. And he knew Rob Floyd and was chatting in his ear about what I'm doing. And Rob and I connected, and he happens to live in Nashville. Again, what are the odds? Right down the street. Just opened up a bar here called the Sip Boldly Lounge in Nashville, in downtown. And now we're partnered together to do our own line of Rocktail boxes, which is great. So I've got his cocktails. I've got 4 up and coming with him that will feature throughout the year, starting now into next year for the holidays. And the first one is called Love Potion, but it really is a fun drink. I mean, you could add alcohol or not. The base is amazing. It's very flavorful. It kind of takes you away. It's really magical. And we've added some fun little elements to the box. Some edible little gold glitter that you can stir around. And I call it my Harry Potter because it really does, not in a creepy way, but it looks like it's moving around. It's really cool. So it's fun. I mean, they're kind of like boxes that are great for yourself, or your treat yourself, or great for, again, holiday gifts, birthday gifts, anniversary gifts. If you're a true Tiff fan, they do come with, I'm going to show you because it's right here. We're talking about it. And we're just sending some out for promo right now. But it comes with my great collectible unbreakable glasses. So this one says Rocktail with Tiffany, which we're kicking it off, of course. But of course, we're going to do a retro one. We'll have a retro cocktail. We have a holiday cocktail coming out. Something that you can really, the holiday cocktail, drink all year. Because I'm not I don't like things too syrupy or too sweet. I like them to be blended. So our first Love Potion is right literally out of the box and ready. So we have the pre-orders on tiffanytunes.com.
That's so cool. It's like it's an entire gift set. You've thought of everything. I mean,
We do. I mean, it's a fun thing to make. You get 2 cocktails out of it. Of course, the glassware you get to keep, they are collectible. So you'll have 4 of them. And I'm not doing any of, these collectible glasses on my personal merch. So this is limited, exclusive with Rob only, and our partners. So I'm excited. I'm learning more. We've got events coming up. Our first event is in Nashville, Tennessee, November 26th. And we'll be at the Sip Boldly Lounge, and little Christmas themed. I'll be singing some Christmas songs, which I don't get to do. We're doing a re-release of Angels, which I wrote in COVID, one of my Christmas songs. Again, don't have much in my Christmas catalog, but I'm working on it. And we're going into the studio in a couple of days to kind of remix Angels, and we'll be performing that at the event, and of course some other performers. So just a real special kickoff for Rocktails with Tiffany.
Wow. It's funny because, you're home right now, and I know that you were out doing a lot of different shows over the summer. You don't take too kindly to a lot of time off, I'm guessing, right? Like, I feel like there has to be something going on, borderline hectic in the world of Tiffany. Is that an accurate assessment?
Well, it's funny that you say that because, I'm, at the end of the year, I'm a Libra. I'm a, October baby. So every year, sorry, that's my dog, guys, Daisy. So every year, I take time to reflect and readjust to what's not working, or to, kind of all that kind of stuff. So all that's kind of coming up now. But yeah, I next year I'm going to do some different things. Obviously, TIFF takeovers, obviously Rocktail events. I've got my pop-up shop-ups for my Radical Reds online boutique, Let's Food with Tiffany, cookbook signings. but of course, a lot of the retro stuff that we've got up and coming. So, still doing shadows, but that will go on into the UK and other parts of the world, I'm excited to say.
Hmm.
So, yes, wearing a bunch of different hats for America. We've toured shadows. It's not like we want to move forward, but there's so many great things like Rob Floyd, like these opportunities to work Let's Food, my spice line coming out, a Chef Alicia in Vegas, so I got to go Vegas. All in the food
Gotta.
world is really kicking off here in America. And then, of course, more on the music side, we've got a lot of things up and coming, for Germany, France, UK, taking shadows there. I know I will be doing some of the retro festivals in July and August over there. So this is my usual, and I'm really excited about it to keep it going because it gives me the opportunity to kind of break the ground over there
Yeah.
with the Rocktails. I'm again planting those seeds now. They start over there. So yeah, it's not hectic. It's just it's busy. It's something like I said. I'm always the person, the creative. So in my head, I keep these ideas going and I send out emails, and a lot of times it's like, what is she doing now? But you just keep it going. And
Mhm.
I really do believe in the new things and new adventures I'm doing. And I think that they circle back to including music, and building that brand. I'm learning so much about the new way to approach the music industry, and that it's not just the good thing is it's not just one thing, but the crazy thing is it's almost seems to be all things.
Yeah.
And you have to constantly turn on the camera, and what you think you're going to promote, and your EPKs or your great videos, or all the things you put your heart and your money and your independence into, and your small team and all that, and you go, yeah, we've really nailed it. It gets like, I don't know, a couple 100,000 likes or whatever. But, I post something about me and my dog and it gets like, complete like a million likes or something crazy on YouTube.
Right.
You just don't know what it's going to take now. So,
Yeah.
all bets are off. So, I'm not somebody that really participates too much in TikTok. Sorry, my little guy fell. But I'm not, but I'm getting there. I'm an old schooler. I still believe in the one-on-one. I believe in live music. I believe in new adventures, and kind of branching out now, and having so much fun with being Tiffany, but also the new Tiffany. And, getting to know people, not having to compromise my music to to continue to live that legacy of Tiffany. I can do it in Rocktails. I can do it with Let's Food. I can do it at retro events, and continue on with what I love right now musically, which is more of my shadows direction.
Yeah. And people continue to gravitate toward you and follow you and love your music, old and new. And I mean, proof positive of that is the response that we got when we first put out the word that you were going to be on this show. We have been flooded with questions and comments about past, present, future stuff, all things Tiffany. You want to answer some of these questions? You want to
Sure.
dive into this?
Okay,
Uh,
hold on. Let me get a little sip, guys.
yeah, you need it. Trust me, I took a glance at some of these. Oh,
Uh-oh, we going in? Let me
we going
see.
in.
Maybe I'm not ready.
No, you're ready. You're caffeinated. You're good. And look, a
Oh,
lot
my
of these are
hair.
common themes. I want to ask you something right off the bat, even before we dive into any specifics, because I think I got about 10 messages, posts, emails, etc., that were all very similar to this. Ask Tiffany if she still thinks she's alone now. Like, I think I got about 10 of those, some version of that. Is that something that you hear a
Uh,
lot? And does that just
yes.
drive you nuts? Because,
No, it doesn't drive me nuts. Actually, it's funny because I'm actually doing like a little book about my memoir, like a little book of memories, and how I think about my life, almost like what I'm doing with my YouTube series. We started a YouTube series about my thoughts behind the music, and what I was going through and how it affected me in my childhood. And we're going to resume that. I started with my co-host Lindsay Lawler, who is taking a break because she's got her own album that she's promoting.
Mm.
So, working with artists, they got to do their thing. So we will resume that. I'm going to actually do a few on my own that we're taping in the next couple of days, just kind of kick it off. And then we'll do the Halloween holiday ones together, the last of the bits of the album. And it is, every album I've ever created and my thoughts behind it. So, I think We're Alone Now really has led to such a title and such a theme of my life. Do I think I'm alone? No, I have wonderful people. I have
Mm.
great fans. I, get to enjoy that. I'm hoping to branch out on that next year because I kind of feel like, I want to take my family to places that I love with me. I want it all. I want to have the fan experience. I want to have the rocktail experience. I want the food experience. I want the retro experience. I want the rock experience. I want it all from all of you guys. So we're just gonna have fun, And if there's something that interests, my fans, and I'm gonna make new fans as well that maybe don't want a retro, but they love shadows or they just want to come and have a rocktail thing, maybe it's the Radical Reds pop-up shop, but you got to live life, and next year that's what I'm doing. I think We're Alone Now, the other side, yes, I'm working currently on a book that talks about again my thoughts and memories and how I looked at things again a little deeper, my losses, but how I feel sometimes as a kid, again, I didn't really get that infusion of direction because of the chaos in my family.
Mm.
So definitely, I've had to fly by the seat of my pants as a person, as a mom, as a wife, as a person in a all of it. I didn't really get the best guidance, I guess, or role models. So you kind of learn, but isn't that a lot of people? So my life has just been lived, kind of out loud, and how that affected me or the mistakes I made, how I corrected them, how I'm still correcting things. So yeah, I mean, I think, there is a time that I felt, or times I feel alone because I don't really have a sounding board really for a lot of stuff. I'm self-managed. I do work with other people as a team, but I really am the head of all of it. And
Mm.
sometimes it is a little in the new climate and the new stuff. I work with my labels, all of that. But it is like, I don't know. But I've found out a lot of people that I thought knew what they were doing didn't know anyway. So, and I was paying them. So I thought, well, that doesn't, and it's not anyone's fault. It is the new world.
Mhm. Well,
Everything that we had, on the table, that made sense as a touring artist is now changing. Smaller venues, lack of venues, the way, I mean, all of it, people's incomes and what they want to pay or can afford. And, you
mm.
have the big hikes of a lot of the main tickets are being outpriced. So it's a change in field. But yeah, that's a that's your top question. That's my top answer, everybody.
That's a great one. You're much more gracious than I. I was just ready to write it off as a bad
It's
joke.
a very serious thing.
It it
No,
is.
I mean, you might as well. It really did. On a serious note, I've started a company called Let's Send My Friend, which, I'm practicing meditation and holistic healing and just, things that I want to learn more that again that will ground me that I depend on more and more in my life. And I'm learning. So Let's End My Friend is really that connecting the dots of other people that, my Instagram is really just starting to get active now. But, it's like featuring my doctor, who does acupuncture on me and wanting me to do an Ayurvedic kind of diet and what that means now and follow me on those journeys. But eventually, again, what I'd love to do is start to, work with people more in retreats and again connecting all the dots, all my friends that are wonderful, bringing them together in one place and having my fans and having an experience for everybody to regroup really, from mental awareness to getting it off your, all the burdens off your back for a minute. I really do believe in that. So the title, I think we're alone now, really resonated with me during COVID again,
Yeah.
because people would really write to me some heartfelt things, and they were really reaching out to me, and I felt really responsible to, oh gosh, what do you say? This person is very fragile. So I think just it was a lesson for me to learn about how we feel and how we hold things, and what I can do with my fans to kind of go in a different place and release all that.
Well, that's a lot of emotional. That's a lot of emotional
It is.
depth for this show,
Told
and
you
I'm
guys.
never going to forgive you for that because we try to stay superficial and
Well, you know what? Come on, no. Well, that's a retro thing. Come on, do that with me.
There you go. There you go.
We'll wear
Well,
leg warmers. It'll be great. We'll balance it out.
we're going to bring it back because we have, and again, this is going to be just a sampling of many questions and comments we got in this vein. We've just learned that you don't necessarily think you are, in fact, alone now. But if you were to feel a little bit alone, I think some of these emails might help. Let's go to Happy Throwback. If it's not too late, ask what she thinks of her lifelong fans still finding her insanely attractive. The Trolleys asks, ask her if she would marry me. I had such a crush on her. And Leon Ryan, she was my first crush when I was 12. Ask her if she'll marry me. Tell her I'm handsome and rich and definitely not already married. So that feels very
Ah.
sincere. But there's a lot of this out there, man. And I'm very curious. You're talking about all the heartfelt messages and things you get. Do you also get a lot of this? Because I feel like this has to be a constant part of your life. Just the the love and adoration and a line that comes close to creepy sometimes, but probably is also very sweet. And
It
where
it
do you
is
see?
very sweet. That's why, it makes me blush a little bit. Yeah, it does make me, I grab my little blanket. Sorry, we're renovating my kitchen, so it's drafty in here.
Mm.
So I have my little comforter, little blanket with me right here. 'Cause it's crisp here in Nashville this morning. But yeah, you guys made me kind of go, whoa, a little bit. Uh yeah, I didn't really know that a lot of people had my poster on the wall back in the day. It all comes out now when they come to my shows,
Hmm.
especially a lot of the shadow shows. A lot of the rockers are like, I couldn't tell anybody. But I think that's really cool, and I'm of course honored. And it's just it's part of my life, I guess, and it's very endearing and it's very wonderful. I'm in a relationship now, and that's something that the other person has to put up with as well. But it's usually very flattering and very tasteful. If they're not, I take them off of my comments, just so you know.
Right.
I remove them.
There is a line. There is a line. And by the way, whatever we say now doesn't matter because as soon as you said you were in a relationship, I think everyone just clicked off this thing. But
Like the board went down.
we'll proceed anyway. We'll try to rapid fire through some of these because there's some really good questions in here. Does she anticipate that any, if not all, of her four MCA albums will eventually be remastered or expanded to include B-sides, demos, re-released in any way? Is there any kind of re-rollout of some of the classic stuff?
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I haven't really got clarification, to be honest with you, if some of my masters were burnt in the fire. There
Mm.
was a huge fire, so I'm not aware really of the final result on that. That would be something that would be my old producer. We haven't spoken about it, but that would be cool. I know I'm doing something, so that's yet to come. I can't really talk about it right now, but
Mm-mm.
wait for it.
Okay.
Hmm. So that question will be answered
TBA.
middle of next year. There you
Excellent.
go.
Something to look forward to. Seb the Lodge would like to know what kind of music was she listening to when she was making music for us?
Oh, okay, said. let's see. I was listening to Van Halen, Ozzy Osbourne, Scorpions, AC/DC, Stevie Nicks, of course, Tina Marie, Marvin Gaye, Barbara Streisand. It's a very eclectic, I know. Let's see, the Bee Gees. These were all things, and of course, country music. I started off in country music. So, Emmylou Harris, Patsy Cline, Tammy Wynette. I was cranking some Loretta Lynn back there, you know. So, yeah, I mean, this is what I was listening to. Heart. You know, I came from a country background. My parents listened to country and Western, it was called at the time. And that's how I started listening to music and singing to that music, probably as well as, Marvin Gaye and Fats Domino. And I started performing with Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis when I was very young.
Mm.
So right off the bat, and I didn't even know when I was that young how important that was. But all I knew that everybody just had a great time. They seemed like there was like a real family environment where everybody knew each other and they're playing backstage, and music was fun.
Yeah.
And then they got out and they just connected with their fans, and there was no gimmicks. They just performed and it was amazing. So I kind of learned that you were backstage eating, a hot dog, and then somebody called your name, and you're like, ta-da, here I am, and you just go and kill it, and then you come back and you finish your hot dog.
Yeah, right.
And then you get on the bus with your kids and your dogs, and so that's kind of how I was first introduced to the industry. And then of course as a pop star it was different. So I really started out young, and I'm very grateful that I've done it for 30 years.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, secret little project coming for next year. And I hope to just continue to do good music. And the new stuff is really amazing. So check it out if you're not doing that, because we're not stopping from there. We're just going to continue on that vibe. I feel like, again, I was so influenced by so many different people. But what I really latched onto eventually was more classic rock, 80s rock, more of a punk sound. And we've tried to roll all of that into the new Tiffany. All of my favorites, Blondie, Joan Jett, myself. I mean, I was listening to Bad Reputation was my favorite album. And I used to sit on my corner in Norwalk, California. I think I was 12. And it was like, when I get out of this town, I was like, really loud. My mom would be like, Tiffany, you need to come inside now. Like, you're making a nuisance out of yourself. But I would make sure I was strategically placed when traffic was coming too, because we lived on the corner. Then it was like a main hubbub. So then that way, I don't know. For me, I was, announcing to the world that I'm leaving. Which I don't know, my childhood wasn't really that bad. They were a little crazy, as all families are, but they're loving people. So, but yeah, there was always this feeling for me that I was going to do music. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah. Well, and this is interesting based on what you were talking about before. Fluid Bet 6223 wants to know, in a way, your early rise to fame through local word of mouth is very similar to today's TikTok or YouTube stars. Do you feel that you were ahead of your time? Now, I feel like you have probably always had some version of this entrepreneurial spirit that you clearly embody today. Do you feel like sort of your early rise, and I know that you weren't necessarily driving the initiative of the mall, the mall appearances that people still remember to this day and everything, but in general, do you feel like that strategy or other things you were trying to do to push your own career were feeling entrepreneurial or ahead of their time in that way?
No, I feel now that, like, yes, I'm getting a better handle on it. I feel that, by, I don't know if you want to say default or by we didn't know what we were doing, frankly. It never been done before. But yes, it became, you're the first one. Ta-da! Again, the mall tour, I'm the first one to really be successful in that. And that was by just dire means to keep the project going. I was going to be dropped from my label. I've been doing clubs in New York. There were no clubs really in LA where I lived that were right for me. And they were mostly rock clubs. Dance clubs were in really on the East Coast. So they sent me there. And I was 15, 16. So I would come in, do my little, I think we're low now, everybody loved it, and then be ushered out the door because I
Right.
wasn't even legal enough to be in the club. So that's a problem. And my label saw that and they were like, we just don't know how to promote this project. So we're just gonna dump it. And my A&R guy got word of that and said, I don't know what to do, but he was walking the mall with his daughter. And I think he saw one of the runway shows, like a fashion contest or something. He thought, they have hair shows. Why don't they have music? Why can't we do a music thing? And of course, I loved the mall, just being an 80s kid. That's where you went. I used to go to the mall to check out, again, there's that eclectic side of a music lover. I used to go to the mall to the record store, remember that? The record
Sam
store,
Goody.
the cool place that you used to go. And it was a great place to just check out people, check out, hang out. But I used to go through all the albums and read the liner notes. I really wasn't into like production at that time, or I'm not the kind of girl that goes, oh yeah, the guitarist that was in this band before that. No, I'm not that girl. But I would look at all the pictures and just more of what the artists would say about their album. And it would make me want to buy it, even if I hadn't heard about that artist. So I just kind of went around and connected, and I learned new artists that weren't even on the radio. I've always been open-minded like that, but I would be embarrassed. And my girlfriend, I would coax her into going to pay for it because it would be like Ozzy Osbourne and then like Barbara Streisand's album Yentl, and then like and then would be like AC/DC, and then some weird band that just had a cool cover, but I was like, I don't know, and then like the Sex Pistols, and then and then it might be Emmylou Harris, literally, and I'd be like, you go buy that. She's like, why are you so scared? I was like, I don't know, because it's like you got to be a thing, and I'm not really a thing. I love it all. And I really, I appreciated music, and I feel like somewhere in there, that's kind of all still wrapped up in me. I mean, I love blues, I love rock, I love classic rock, I love folk, I love bluegrass. I love country music, real true country music, as well as, punk rock, as well as metal, So, I mean, I'm always listening to stuff, and even more now because there's so many great artists that are up and coming, but also some of the, existing artists are just doing some great collaborations and some different stuff.
Yeah, very cool. And by the way, you were absolutely right to be nervous about what you were choosing at the record stores, because record store employees, we know, the most
They all
judgmental
talked,
people on
and
the
they went to
planet.
school with them, and they're like, nerd, what is she? What do you think you know it all? I mean, you got everything. It was like, so you're nothing. You've just canceled yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That was before there was social media, there was record store employees ruining people's
Exactly.
reputation.
Like, get a hold of yourself. Find a lane.
On the topic of malls, Dark Snake Eyes wants to know, what was the wildest thing that happened on your mall tour? Do you remember any crazy stories from that time?
Oh, well, no, not really. We didn't have any, not too many crazy things, really. I mean, it was great to be able to make some true friendships that, I would go and sing and do my thing and then walk off and have pizza. And, there was literally 100 people behind me
Yeah.
eventually. And we'd all sit down and I'd be like, I got 30 minutes, let's chow. And it was fun. It really was. I didn't have crazy people. The kids, my age group, was really respectful. I think it got crazier as the media went on, and then authorities were more worried about the mall and people's safety. That kind of stuff made more of an urgency. And of course, we outgrew the mall, which was a really great place to be.
Yeah.
But there was something very intimate about it, and I loved it that it started with two people following me from my break to 40 to 100, and then it was like, oh wow, we can't do this in 30, can we?
That's
um, it was a great place, to start.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a good segue because Riley Diefenbach would like to know: every pop or rock star has a moment where they look around at a situation they are in and realize that they've made it. What was yours, and when did it happen? Like, did you have any particular moment? Was that sort of the period of time where you felt like you were going from to a different level in your career? Like now, this is up and running.
Oh no, they come and go.
Yeah,
As such, I'm told, is a long career. They come and go. I think you're always on that ride,
yeah,
really, because it's just the way that the industry is a little bit, to be serious. It's like you're only as good as your last thing. So you're always chasing that. But I think for me, when I kind of went, dang, it might be kind of cool to be Tiffany, was when I was riding around and with my mom, actually. And we were in Norwalk, California. The single, I think, Rolona had just come out. We just switched it from Danny because that wasn't working. I think Rolona was making some traction, I think, in Texas, a few other places, and then making its rounds to California. And I knew that it was going to be on the radio, or hoping that it would be on the radio in LA. And we were going somewhere, grocery shopping, and on the radio came my song in my mom's crappy car that made a lot of noise over the radio. And I was like, but this is still cool. you know, I'm blasting my own thing on the radio in Norwalk, California, you know, and maybe we're going somewhere. I mean, it felt really good. It felt really, special.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We'll hit a couple more if that's okay, because we got some really good ones here. Loomis Ponder would like to know, and this really speaks to just the longevity of your career. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. How did you feel when you realized your second album wasn't going to be as successful as your best-selling debut album? Because you could look back on it now, I have to imagine, and kind of have that perspective to see those ups and downs and all the different places your career has gone. But when you've been to a certain level and you're still so young, and now the next one's not quite going to hit that, how does that hit you emotionally? Is there a lot of fear, or did you already have the perspective of knowing that this was just another step in a longer journey?
Um, well, I was already frustrated. I talk a lot about this. Again, guys, we're going to resume the YouTube series,
Mm,
the Music Diaries, because Lindsay Lawler is taking a break to do her own album and her own album release. And, I have a co host, so waiting on her, but I will resume them and do a few on my own just to get started. But this is exactly what we talk about, how I was feeling behind the scenes of the music, how I felt when I recorded. And um, yeah, I think the second album, there were already challenges. I didn't feel a lot of the music was right. Um, it felt to me like we were just kind of going with the flow of what was popular and not really getting ahead creatively of where to go for my career. There was a time where I was really in the middle, and I really could have probably went both ways. And a lot of people feel that maybe I blew it because I could have been beforehand, what we have now, an Adele. I do have this big voice, and ballads are my jam. And I had more hits with ballads all over the world with songs like "It's the Love Enough Not to Love," "Love Is Blind," on and on and on. And that's amazing that people saw me as a singer, and I kind of could have went that route, but I struggled with that because again, there was so much that I was getting these great songs, but the lyrics were so heavy.
mm,
They were about end of love and like I've known you for, and I'm like, where? 16. I mean,
Right.
I do feel like that because I'm an old soul, but I think we should maybe lighten up. And what I got was kind of crap. It was like, oh, okay, well then here. I was like, well, I think we could be doing better than that, though. And I was really influenced with the songwriters that I was around: Tim James, Steve McClintock, Lois Blaish, um, John DeWardy, on and on and on. Mark Paul, all of these people who I still know today, thank you, who are still my influences today, who I do projects with still, and still have the same awe factor about them. They gave me all this time, Kid on a Quarter. On it could have been, these are amazing songs. And as myself as a songwriter, that's always been my bar is what would they think? Is this it could have been? I think I'm still working on it really, but I'm getting better. But I was very blessed to have these people in my life. So I was frustrated on the second record, and I just felt that it was so quick again, though, that the first record we had time. There was no expectation. No one knew who I was.
Mm.
So you did have that creative freedom a little bit. By the second record, it was, let's get it out. Let's ride on this popularity. Let's tour again. Like everybody was on the quick trail. And there was expectation, then. So, I wish looking back, like, maybe that, I would have been able to write some for the record. But, that was never really given to me. It wasn't really totally supportive. And maybe I wasn't ready at the time. I was a really new writer. I was writing more poetry. And, I think I had to live a little too to want to say some things.
Look,
now I don't stop.
I was working at a restaurant that's long gone called Kenny Rogers Roasters when I was 16.
I love it. Yeah.
So, and I think most of us would say, yeah, maybe it's okay that you weren't quite ready to figure out the ultimate direction for where to take your gigantic career in when you're in that part of your life. So, just
Yeah,
the
I was really young and I felt, no one was listening to me. And, I didn't have the answers, but I knew kind of what my age group was wanting. And to be honest with you as well, I didn't know because, as well as I could have went and done, all the ballads and been a ballad singer and went in that direction. There was a part of me that really wanted to do the rock stuff. I was like, well, I love dance music and I love that I'm performing with people that I look up to. Again, Lisa, Trenier, all these people that I totally dig. But I really still love my Stevie Nicks heart and, that woman in front of a rock band or a band and being all of that, just Blondie, all of that really spoke to me. So, that was my heart's desire, is to kind of continue to push in that direction as well and find people that would inspire me and create with me like that.
That's the kind of story we hear a lot about on this show. And I think what people sort of forget is that when you're an artist, following your passion is a major factor it should be a major factor in your decision making. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, and there's second guessing or whatever. But it's not like you're an accountant and it's like, well, I should be using this method to calculate. No, but I
Right.
really want to use this method. Like, this is artistry. Like, this is something where passion is your fuel. So I feel
Yeah.
like a lesson that we learn time and time again from conversations like these, which thank you for, by the way, is that you can't necessarily ignore that. Like, however it's going to work out is how it's going to work out. But it's, I think it speaks to the artist like yourself that you have that instinct to try to at least appease or at least somewhat be cognizant of what you truly want to do in your heart and the direction you want to go in. And
Yeah.
that's made you who you are today. I feel.
Thank you. I think I've missed out on a lot of great things because I wouldn't, retro, if you will. But it's a fun thing. I love being part of the 80s. I love, some of the goofiness of the 80s and the crazy stuff of the 80s and the awe factor of what is this, you know? I mean, from cell phones to wow, you know, we were really feeling pretty good about ourselves because you know,
Yeah.
and there was that innocence, that and exactly that flash. Nobody's seen this, and I got the best of the best, and I'm looking good with my duds, and I'm, you know, all of it. It was so over the top, and I love it. But um, as a retro artist, what people know me from, you know, to make that sincere and valid throughout the years, you have to learn how to say no to some things. You miss the mark sometimes. Sometimes you do say things that you go, that's not what was presented to me, and now
Right.
I look like a total dork. But thank you, you know, and you just have to learn to laugh with it.
Yeah.
I think I'm really comfortable now in my own skin enough to know, you know, what I bring to the table as an artist, where I'm going still, what I want to do next, and also have a chuckle and, you know, enjoy being in the moment and have a little retro and a little back to the past of where we've all come through, and celebrating more than anything music and life, and that we're still here, you
Yeah.
know. So but everything I choose to do with retro, again, some of my Rocktail with Tiffany events are going to be true retro. I will totally retro with you. Yes, I will get out my jean jacket and we will retro.
Nice.
And it'll be, you know, it'll be that. It'll be fun. It won't always be me performing. It might be a DJ, but it'll be a true experience to come and be with me in the moment. Let's 80s, let's reminisce. I don't do that often. So, you know, and I want people to have my 80s cocktail that we're coming up with. My, you know, again, collectible glasses. They'll be all 80s. It'll be an 80s one, and we're going to go for it. And then, you know, again, some of the new projects that I have, I'm going to, you know, ask for my fans to retro, but also to come and do, you know, the rocking thing with me, which we've already blended, in my opinion, on Shadows.
Mhm.
We worked really hard to have that 80s fun punk sound, modern Tiffany. And that's what we're doing. And we're going to continue to do that and have fun with it.
Awesome. And for those who want to, continue to follow you and see what you're announcing next, because there's Tiffany news happening all the time, quite
All the
frankly.
time.
Tiff, TiffanyTunes.com, is that a good place to start, do you think?
TiffanyTunes.com. That'll take you to everything Tiff World. Come check out Let's Food with Tiffany's and my friend, Radical Reds. If you're into fashion, we're going to be starting to do stuff. And again, you know, I'm just kicking off things as they come along, and meeting new people that are lifting me up and taking my adventures to the next level. And I'm very blessed in that. And I won't stop until you know it all happens, because this is part of my world now. You know, the extending of cooking to holistic healing to, you know, playing with fashion to my retro line to music.
Drinking.
And you know, well, no, but yeah, I mean, I'll watch you guys. I love my coffee though, in case again you haven't noticed.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I mean, like I said, our mocktails, the boxes don't come with alcohol. You have to add that. We do have our card. It has the ingredients. It does have the alcoholic, not alcoholic, but the alcohol recipe. But
Hmm.
truthfully, on a serious note, you can mocktail these. They're really fantastic. So, you know, I have a lot of friends who in Hollywood just don't drink anymore. And they're
Right.
like, and I'm like, oh no, you're not getting out of this one. This is good without alcohol. They're fun. It's got the ginger beer in there, so it's got the little flirtiness to it. And again, I don't like things too overly sweet.
Mhm.
And I find the Love Potion, our first rocktail, to be fantastic and something that, you know, is just like a little pick me up.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing this unroll and trying it out and checking it out and just seeing everything explode that you touch, because that's what you do. You create, you grow, and we can't wait to follow you as your journey continues. Tiffany, thank you
Thanks.
so much for being on the show. It's been really awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Great questions. And again, just follow me on Let's Food with Tiffany and Zen My Friend and all the different adventures. And tiffanytunes.com is where you'll find me. And yeah, I'm getting excited about new cooking adventures and rock telling with you guys.
Awesome. And hey, thank you guys for joining us here on 90s to Now. Share, subscribe, do all the things that you're already doing to help us continue to grow. And we thank you so much. We'll check you out next time. Thanks, Tiffany. Thanks so much.
Bye, guys.